The next dead gum thing. After I got all the electronics working in the dash, I start looking at other things that don't work or work partially. And what's working partially is the sound system. So
today I am going to...
back to where I was cut off, what I found was partially working was the driver's door speaker was coming on. I could turn on the radio, turn off the radio. I could scan FM channels, AM channels. I could turn the volume up and down, all of that through the VIC. So I knew that the CDM box was communicating over the ENC network. That all worked. So I wasn't getting any sound out of the passenger door or any of the left and right rear speakers. So what I wanted to do was go in and disconnect the connectors from here and here. Now, one of these connectors, a little 4-pin connector, there's one here and one here. One of them goes to the front and the other one goes to the rear. And one pin is for the right, another pin is for the left, and then there's a common pin for both of them. And then there's a shield pin. I guess the shield is grounded off inside. But anyway, I disconnected this from that, and I used this little stereo right here that I've had for, oh my God, I don't even know how many years, to artificially inject signal into the wires that go to the rear speakers. Now the way these things are set up, it's kind of like your home stereo where you've got a preamplifier that does all the switching, and it puts out a line level signal with volume control and all that kind of stuff to an amplifier. And the amplifier is what kicks it up to the signal that goes to your speakers. And this works, if I understand it right, the same way. This guy right here acts as a preamp, and it does the switching between the tape deck and the radio, AM, FM, and whatever else you got hooked up to it. Maybe even the phone. I don't know. I didn't get this car with a phone. But then it sends line level signals down to each of the speakers individually. Now what Bose does, inside each of these speakers, there is an amplifier. And this is the board out of one of those little amplifiers. In doing research on it, I was led to the Corvette forum, the C4 Corvette guys, who have these Bose amplifiers and CDM boxes in theirs. And fundamentally, theirs work exactly the same as these. And what they say is that the drivers are not what go out. Now, this is the bad driver. This is in my right rear. That's what I determined was bad in it. But it's these amplifier boards that go out. And it's these capacitors right here that go bad. And they replace those and brings the board back. Now what I did, I sent line level signals from this guy out to the left front, the right front, the left rear, and the right rear individually, because I only have two channels. I got, well, one channel that I can use with this. I'm going to plug this into the speaker connector, or the headphones connector. I'll get almost line level out. It's a little bit stronger than line level, but it works. And I sent those down to each of the four amplifiers individually. I could get sound out of them, although it wasn't loud, which indicates that all of the amplifiers are bad. When I disassembled the right rear, I found that this driver was bad. And how you determine that? Strangely enough, these are the same drivers that they use in the Bose 901 series speakers. They're 1 ohm. If you take your meter on ohms, connect up to that, this coil is open. I did the same thing to the one that's in here. I'm not going to do it now, but I did it in here, and I got 1.1 ohms on it. According to the spec sheet, 1.1 to 2.2 to maybe 2.5 ohms, the driver's good. So I'm going to recap this amplifier board right here. This is the one that came out of the speaker that has the bad driver. I've got a new driver ordered. It should be here in a few days. But I'm going to find out what these guys are and pull those off and recap this. Now there's some good information on the Corvette forum. There's a guy named Mike, I can't remember his name. I'll have to find it out when I post this video. I'll put a link in there for his, on what he did to these. Now the way Bose does it, they go in and investigate the interior of the car, and they literally tune these amplifiers at each of the locations so that they get the sonic quality that they're looking for. So you can't take the capacitors off one board and make the same change to the amplifier in another position in the car, because the caps may be different for the tonal quality. Bose is real strict about that. Now come to find out, this right here came out of my right rear speaker. The color codes on this guy right here, you see that's blue and yellow and a dark blue. This is a service guide. That is consistent with the left rear. And if you look in here, according to the service guide, these are different. The right rear should be dark blue and light blue. The left rear should be a blue with a yellow stripe and brown. This came out of the right rear, and its color code is consistent with the left rear. What's also more disturbing is that you see this one. This is the one that came out of my car. This is the right rear. It's covered in this fabric material. This one here is not. This was my right rear, and it says Buick on it. Right rear out of a Buick. I'm gonna rant a little bit, because when this car, I bought this thing brand new in 1988, ordered it, spec'd out the way I wanted it, took delivery on it in December 1988. Drove it for 3 or 4 years. The dash was breaking down, so I put it back in the shop at the dealership to replace that dash and fix it. I got it back. Obviously, that speaker was switched. There was a few things that I was concerned about when I got the car back. One of the things that really ticked me off, about 6 or 8 months after I got the car back, I noticed when I pulled the owner's manual out, when I got the car, it was bound up in this really neat leather binder. When I got the car back, I opened the glove box for the first time after 6 months after they worked on it. Somebody had taken that gray binder, that leather one, and stuck a cheap vinyl one in there on me. I went down there and had it out with the service manager, and he said he couldn't prove who did it, so there wasn't anything he could do about it. So as I'm getting deeper and deeper into this car 35 years later, I'm finding things like that speaker's been switched out. And of course they'll do that, assuming you'll never find out. And I never did find out in time to do anything about it. But holy cow, what I'm finding. This is why people don't trust dealerships. I wouldn't buy a pencil from those guys anymore. And this is Huntsville, Alabama. That was our local Oldsmobile dealership back in those days. I won't call out his name, but they're the Toyota dealership now. Anyway, end of my rant. The guy called me a while ago. My gas tank is ready, so I'm gonna go pick that up. I may be able to crank this car tomorrow. Now that I calmed down a little bit on my dealership here, I'm going to go by and rerun these tests on this thing. This is the amplifier that came out of the right rear speaker. I've got my handy dandy Chinese 30 amp 12 volt supply. I've got it running around to these 2 jumper leads right here. I'm going to apply 12 volts into this connector right here, and I'm going to take the line level out from the earphones out of that and plug them into this. And I'm going to connect that speaker up, not to this amplifier, but run jumpers over here to connect up to this. Now this amplifier is designed to work with 1 ohm speakers. That speaker right there is 3.2 ohms, so it should get, if this amplifier right here is working okay, it should be able to draw that speaker no problem. Should be able to get pretty good volume out of it. But we don't. So I'm going to redo that and show what I did. Okay, what I've got is, check the voltage. These two leads right here connect up to this guy. Of course I can't get my, probably helpful plugged it in, wouldn't it? Let's see, that's this one. Let's give that a shot and see if that works now. That one. 13.78 volts. You see that? Did that show up? Yeah, that showed up. Okay. What I've got, let's see, let's turn this on. That's working. I'm going to plug this into the microphone, the earphones out jack. I've got it connected here, and it's now connected to the input to this amplifier. So now what I've got to do is connect up the power and ground to this side, 13 volts. Okay, that's powered up now. That's full volume right there. It's coming out of that speaker over there. That's it. So that tells me that this amplifier right here is not working. Even though this speaker right here is 3.2 ohms, and this one, this is made to go with 1 ohms, it should drive this okay, and it's not. And all of them are the same way, except this amplifier is connected to this speaker, which this speaker is dead. So that's where I am right now. So I'm going to rebuild, recap these amplifiers. I'm going to do one, test it, see if it works. Hopefully it will. But that's where I am right now. Fuel tank is back. I just installed a fuel pump in it with the new fuel pump with the new sock. I'm going to take a meter and read this and make sure that the float level and everything works okay. But he said that there really wasn't a lot of rust in there. Anyhow, it's supposed to be nice and warm tomorrow. I'm going to go up to the other building and put that in the car and go get some fuel. I'll pick up about 5 gallons of ethanol-free fuel and put in it, prime up the pump, and prime up the pump and see if the car will start.